Welcome to 90 Degree Turns. I'm your host, Trisha Marcus. Allow me to guide you into your own endless soul expansion as we connect to your heart, discover balance, awaken to healing, and embody your soul's deepest expression. For those of you hungry to expand your minds, beliefs, and perspectives, welcome home. Hey everyone, this is Trisha, host of 90 Degree Turns. Today we are joined by Mason Feary, who is the owner of Merlin's Lab. He works with a bunch of very interesting objects called Orgone. We are excited to jump into it and dive into what is Orgone, the power of pyramids, and we're very looking forward to this conversation. Enjoy, everybody.
No one heard that. Whatever. Hello, everybody.
Hello. How's everyone doing tonight? I'm your host, Trisha, and today we have Mason Feary as our guest. He is the owner of Merlin's Labs, and he makes a lot of very interesting orgonite.
Yes.
Mason,
Yes,
nice to
everyone.
have you here.
We're just going to check if everyone can hear us. I was doing this solo right now. So, we have orgonite pyramids here. We have all sorts of different types. We have what I call the large generators. These are quite big, quite heavy. I have the regular size large ones, some medium ones. 1 second. And then lastly, the small ones. And I'm going to make micro ones, but that's not yet. I still have to figure out how to make the pyramidion on the top a little bit smaller than normal.
So let's dive into who you are, Mason, and how you got involved with making orgonite pyramids.
Yeah, so I was actually pretty fascinated with the Pyramid of Giza. Most people are kind of very fascinated with that. It's one of the 7 wonders of the world. And essentially what happened was I saw, orgonite on online. I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. People are making pyramids. And I decided to say, like, you know what, let's step it up a notch. And I wanted to make something called a pyramid, but basically have a pyramidion on the top. And so what a pyramidion is, and in scripture, in Ephesians, talks about it quite a bit, that is called the chief cornerstone. So if anyone's into like esoteric philosophy or anything like that, a chief cornerstone is basically what you could say God has built upon one of the main structures. And a lot of people say like, oh, Jesus is what God is built upon. But in esoteric philosophy, esoteric meaning the internal self, basically that means I build upon myself. Or I build upon within the creator of God, which is me. And this capstone is representative of our pineal gland. So if you look closely, we have that little crystal in the center, and then we have the capstones. The crystal in the center can represent our pineal gland. Pineal gland is the thing that's going to wave back and forth to get us into different frequencies. And that top cap piece is going to be our crown. Our crown represents to our divine guidance that kind of comes through and gives us those different inspirations, aspirations, and kind of our connection to all of those things that makes us whole.
So do you want to just kind of dive into then, for those of us in the audience who just don't know what orgone is, or they see it around but they don't really know what its function is, what do you think? How can you explain its function for our audience? And
yeah, so I made these quite different than pretty much everything out there. I really wanted to focus on the ability to channel all of the energy coming from wherever it's going to the tip. So as you can see here, I have these different rods that kind of connect to the point here. And I have this base plate. And what this base plate is going to do is if I put it on my heart and I'm going to meditate, I'm going to focus on all my energy coming from my center plate out to the tip. And there's an exercise you can do, and this is an exercise that we'll get into in the future, that you can focus and close your eyes and you move your awareness all the way through your body and you get centered out through the tip. And when you move your awareness out through that tip, you're able to do what I saw or what I call the ascension ladder. So basically, you can move your awareness through that tip and kind of climb a rope outside of your heart, and you're able to experience some sort of like astral travel and stuff like that. Not only that, but this is copper. This is a copper plate. This is copper in the bottom. This one specifically is a double tourmaline, which means it has one layer of tourmaline and 2 layers of tourmaline, followed by leather and then the copper. And so what copper does is copper in alchemy, like true alchemy, not like the traditional sense of saying it's alchemy. Alchemy represents copper as Venus, and Venus can be anything that is associated with love or the drive towards love. And so what we can do is we can place this on our heart, and our heart already is a resonant frequency of copper or Venus, and we can meditate on the fact of whatever we're experiencing. Are we experiencing lack? Are we experiencing grief? Anything that you're kind of experiencing. So these are also tools to amplify the human experience. We're not really relying on these. These are things to amplify us, to help us understand our own frequency, our own experience.
Wonderful. So then would you say that it magnifies the energy that's already there?
Yeah. So each one of these, let me grab a different one. Each one of these will have a quartz crystal in the center, surrounded by, depends on which version you get. So the quartz crystal is going to be something that resonates with our own frequency. It's going to resonate very similarly to our own pineal gland, just like how if you were to plug a G string on a guitar, the guitar, even through the wall of the next door, is going to resonate that same frequency. So if I plug it, there's going to be a resonant frequency of the other guitar. It's going to go on the other side. So what this does is this is a tool to help us realize our own frequency and have it vibrate. And when you hold it, when you put it around you, it's going to give the ability to kind of accelerate your own kind of awareness. And then once you actually develop a relationship with these things, I develop a relationship with crystals because I know they're alive and they represent the first dimension of consciousness. These crystals have their own kind of personality, which is really fun. When I started working with these, if one crystal doesn't want to be with the other crystal, the pyramid won't happen. Like it just will not be able to be made. It turns out into a disaster. Something goes wrong, but they all have their own character. And if you blend your character with the stone, or you appreciate, what it is as a being, not necessarily alive or conscious like how we are, but it has a consciousness to it, you can actually tap into that consciousness. And based upon whatever stone is present in your pyramid, you can tap into that consciousness, and you can actually help yourself with whatever you're going through.
So let's have then we dive into the idea of like programming crystals, right? Because every crystal has a different frequency. You can, like, lots of people use rose quartz for like love and either bringing love to them or magnifying love within, right? What about like malachite is the one you were just showing us. So every one of them has a different programming that you can add to it, right? So let's dive into that because I feel that's a really fun topic to talk about.
So each crystal is going to have their different, ability, I guess you could say, or principle. I call it principle because this one, for example, has moonstone rose quartz. So what is that going to do? Well, moonstone is very active within the moon, very active within the subconscious. And the subconscious gives us that understanding of things that are going on in the background, things that are maybe repressed or something that's happened that we're not really giving that foremost understanding to. But then the rose quartz gives us that ability to activate that heart. So in occultism, there's a principle known as, if I activate my heart, my mind remembers. There's a lot of times where we're like, I forgot about that thought, or I forgot about that idea. But how do you remember something that you forgot? You really tune into that emotion. And as soon as you generate that emotion, like, I remember my birthday, you generate that emotion, that produces a field, and then your mind is able to pull in those ideas, those aspirations, those memories through that field. All this is going to do is help you facilitate that, depending on whatever crystal it is. So moonstone is going to help accelerate that subconscious. The rose quartz is going to help you amplify your energy field when it comes to your heart. And what the copper does, this is all pure copper. Copper helps electrical continuity. So essentially what that means is your mind has more of an electric source to tune to. So if you put this big boy, same thing, plate at the bottom, right here, you can relax and you can kind of pull towards you these astral memories or astral kind of aspirations a little bit easier because it's an object, right? And so we understand that, Harry Potter has little magic wands and they actually utilize their consciousness in the object. All throughout history, every person that's in any sort of hieroglyph or any sort of, thing that is represented in some sort of wall painting, they all have objects. They either have the watch of the Anunnaki, they have the wands of the Egyptians, they have these objects. These objects are not something outside of ourselves. It's not saying that we can't create these within ourselves, but they're something to add to our own abilities, add to our own consciousness as a tool. And the tools are very important. And they're actually quite wonderful to meditate with. I know you have meditated with them personally. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like when I meditate with them, I like doing what you mentioned, putting like the heart energy through it. But my favorite is when we have like 4 of them like around your bed frame, then you will feel the energy like
some crazy dreams too.
The dream space becomes so much more active. Like I'm one who doesn't always remember my dreams, and now since we've put these pyramids on the 4 corners of the bed, like I remember so much more dreams, and they're so active.
They're vivid.
They're so real.
They're quite crazy.
It's
the other day,
extension of them.
The other day, so we have 4 of these on each corner. These are called the small ones, and they actually have quite a large quartz crystal. Can't really see it in the center. No, it's right there though. It's quartz crystal about that big. So we basically have one of these different stones. We have a rose quartz, we have malachite, we have an amethyst, turquoise. And so we have these in the 4 bedposts. And I swear to you, the first night that we actually put these in place,
we knocked out sleeping really quickly.
We knocked out. So not only that, but we knocked out because there's a principle in occultism known as like things are like. And we'll get in that to the in a series in the far future, talking about more of like a occultism and kind of diving deep into what symbolism is, because symbolism is very important. But this is also a symbol. This represents the Pyramid of Giza or any other pyramid or pyramid types. So that principle that I was referring to is like things are like. So if we have a pyramid, this represents all other pyramids in existence. Everything that has ever been a pyramid that's been talked about being a pyramid or is a pyramid is basically like this device. So we understand that the Great Pyramid of Giza or even the other pyramids are built with quartz crystal, sandstone quartz. When you have that massive a structure and you're making it all of sandstone has very small fragments of quartz crystal. And since how big it is kind of compresses, that creates that piezoelectric effect. The same thing in here.
So what is the piezoelectric effect?
So piezoelectric is basically when you squeeze or contract a quartz crystal, it creates electricity. The traditional grill lighter, the long stem lighter that you click, as soon as you click that, there's a spring that taps on that quartz crystal, produces a charge. So there is a small electric field within this versus the massive amount of electric field that's in the Great Pyramid of Giza. But also, this top piece is called the pyramidion. So this is that cornerstone that I was relating to. This has the ability to take that electric field and kind of focus it to that point. And that point creates an electrified area. And so when you put it on your heart, you're actually amplifying that area. By itself, these things have that electric charge that produces a toroidal field. It's a field that is basically pulling in something called positive ions. And if you guys are familiar with positive ions, if not, I would look into it. Positive ions basically gives the body or life difference of charge. If we're constantly on our phone and we're just tinkering away, this device will produce positive ions just because it's electrified. Your TV screen, your monitor, your Wi-Fi, desktop, all these devices produce positive ions because they're connected to an electric charge. Now, the human body can produce positive ions as well. When we are in a state of chaotic, right? So we're kind of impatient, or we're just agitated, or whatever mental activity that is very agitated, we're producing positive ions. That internal heart, or that energy of the heart, is producing this amount of energy that's producing these positive ionization, and that's how we can get agitated and all these different kind of emotions. And the way to combat the positive ions is basically to, one, ground, two, we have to understand our mineral count in our body, because our body is comprised of mostly minerals. And then also, three, we have to get rid of those. So the best way to get rid of them is to go out in nature. But if we don't have that ability to go out in nature, we don't have that ability to go see a stream or a waterfall, or just put your bare feet on the ground, these do the same thing.
And it's due to the negative ions, right?
Yeah.
Within nature, you have things that are called negative ions, but they actually do quite positive things for you.
Yeah, negative doesn't mean bad. It just means opposite of positive. So positive ions would be if I'm angry, I'm producing a lot of positive ionization. Positive ions meaning energy. So I am generating an energy source that is deposited in my environment. That's how, if you're around someone that's angry, you can actually feel that anger. Because those positive ions will attach to you.
Well, your natural toroidal field will also bring that, right? Like is like.
Yes, yeah. So that toroidal field is an energy field that's either pulling or pushing. And so when someone has energy above you, they're super exuberant, or they're super just happy, you can feel it. It drains you. So similarly to a waterfall, this is the best example that I can give it to you. Is there's a stream, and as the stream hits that apex of that waterfall before it goes down, that energy of that water flowing creates positive ionization, creates a positive energy flow. As soon as it hits that downward flow, that positive ionization comes to a negative ion. And as soon as it hits that placid lake at the bottom, it discharges itself. So it's basically electrical flow going this way, and as soon as it goes down, it discharges. The same thing with a storm. If two cloud systems come together, you have positive and positive forces, or positive and negative. Once they collide, they create a reaction where it's charged enough that it needs discharge. So you get lightning or you get rain, depending on what type of charge it is. And as soon as it hits the grounding, it releases those charges. So what these pyramids do, and most pyramids won't do it, so just be aware that the pyramids you find on Amazon, those things that they look pretty, they don't work unless they're an actual crystal quartz and there's quite a bit of metal. And the reason why is because if there's not a real crystal quartz in there, you're not producing that natural piezoelectric principle. And if there's not a lot of metal in there, you're not actually creating that electrical conduction to go anywhere. There's no field for it to connect to create that toroidal. If it's just resin and whatever else, there's nothing that it's actually doing. So you have to make sure that there's quite a bit of metal in here. And in these ones, these are pure copper. This is pure smelting copper. And then I have some gold in there, and I have some silver sometimes. Silver is a little bit harder to get. But you want it electrically conductive. You want it to have that ability to transmute electricity, because our mind, our emotion, that is actual electricity. I'm going to make smaller ones here pretty soon, because I make these little Pyramidion caps, and I've put these caps on my forehead, and I've meditated, and oh my gosh, I go all sorts of places just with the little cap, because that principle, like things are like. So I want to make these.
I'd like to add real quick with pyramid caps and the pyramid shape itself, why it's so important. There's a lot of studies out there where you look around the world, especially like in Russia, they have incredible studies where they look at the shape of the pyramid and why it is impactful as it is. Yeah. This is not just for Orgone, this is pyramids around the entire world.
It's the shape of the pyramid.
The shape of the pyramid is what is so important.
Yeah,
so
you could actually put steel underneath, just a simple pyramid shape. You put a razor underneath it, and in 3 days it's sharper than normal.
And for a different example, you can have a pyramid shape, right? And you will put, let's say, a petri dish that has like cancer cells in it as a study and a control, and they will see that within a few days to a week or so, there will be either more or less of what you basically are trying to put into that I forget the study exactly. I believe that they put cancer cells in it and it diminished the quantity of cancer cells.
Well, it rearranged the amount of cancer cells that were present, the amount that were alive. The pyramid has a very interesting principle about it. So the pyramid represents something called the Trinity. And what the Trinity is basically, 1, 2, 3 points. And the Trinity is present in all things. Nikola Tesla basically said that it's frequency, sound, vibration. Christianity says that it is the Father, the Ghost, the Holy Spirit. Other principles will say that it's mercury, salt, and sulfur. So there's an aspect to this principle of pyramid that is inherent with humanity. And within the human body, what it represents is the neocortex, the limbic system, and the R complex. And that's all within the mind. It's called the Trinity of the mind. And basically, the neocortex is the left and right mind. The limbic system is our emotional body, and the R complex is our action and derivative body, how we go and do things. Some people call it the reptile mind. So the principle of the pyramid literally is in every aspect of humanity and life. There's quite a fascinating phenomenon when it comes to the pyramid, and especially the Great Pyramid of Giza, because there's actually 9 sides. Which is a little bit different than what people think. They think it's just a traditional pyramid, yet each side is divided in half to create 8 sides on the face and then the one side at the bottom. And if you ever look through a pyramid through the center, I have a little clear pyramid here. You won't be able to see it because there's a sticker, but there's actually 16 sides inside. I don't know if you can see, that little refraction there. So etherically, this represents more prisms than physically. So as the energy comes from the base and it focuses inside, the etheric body of the shape is 4 times. So if you could think about the possibility of the Pyramid of Giza having those 8 sides, imagine that. That's 64 refractal sides within the inside of the pyramid. And a great book to understand that a little bit deeper is a book by Drunvalo Melchizedek called The Secret of the Flower of Life. That's a great read if anyone is interested in something to understand about sacred geometry and then also Egyptian history.
Yeah, it's one of the books that helped me, was a huge catalyst in my own awakening. And there's 2 volumes. I recommend reading both. One is written, the first volume, I believe, is written in a more masculine perspective, lots more numbers and things like that, but it's still understandable. And then the second volume is more of the feminine aspect, but both gives you a full picture.
It gives you inclusive,
really deep understanding of ancient Egyptian history. Sacred geometry is big in there. Atlantis. They relate all these different things that we've heard about in this esoteric spiritual community, right? And it kind of puts it all together. So highly recommend that read. So Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life.
Yeah. And it just goes back to if we look at all these ancient cultures, they have Pyramid of Giza, we have Machu Picchu, we have all these different structures that resemble a pyramid. And there's a video going around TikTok right now. If you go to, I think it's the Aztec temples, where if you were to clap, there's a mathematical formula that tells you about how that pyramid shape actually accelerates sound through its ascension in that pyramid. You've seen that? So basically there's this, it's not necessarily a pyramid, but it's Machu Picchu, and it's staggered a little bit, but it has that flat staircase. And as soon as you clap, that sound wave is accelerated through the top of the point. So that shows you that energy is focused at this apex of this degree here. So And then also the funny thing is that every single one of these structures have metal or like a very precious metal like copper, silver, or gold at the top of it to even more amplify those energies. These ones, specifically these small ones, they're really cool because you kind of bring them wherever you want. I have one of these in my car just to combat the treacherous Chicago 5G temples that are pretty much everywhere. But they since they're a crystal, they have their own personality, and once you get to kind of know these, they can really help you with a lot of different things other than just combating that electromagnetic frequency or that electromagnetic smog. They really have their own personality. Like this one specifically, if I'm feeling down, if I'm feeling grief, malachite is a beautiful stone to help you with that. Tourmaline is basically like my go-to, like I don't know what's going on, but I need some help. So I use the tourmaline. And they're also beautiful. So when you look at these, and I love these, when you look at these and you appreciate what's behind it, there's a little bit more energy that can kind of follow your intention. And once you actually appreciate things, like with positive affirmations, once you appreciate what you have around you, or you appreciate an artifact, or you appreciate whatever it is, you're putting more attention in there. You're putting a different type of compassionate energy. And most importantly, for those that are into, Hermetic philosophy or anything, you're putting the last secret philosophy into action, and that's care. Care is a very big aspect of our personality that we don't really recognize, nor do we pay attention to, because if we don't care about something, you could think about it all day, you can put an emotion towards it, and you could try to do whatever, but if you don't care, none of that matters.
It's not a complete picture.
It's not a complete picture, no. Once you add that care to it, that's the biggest component. So no matter what you're going through, or whatever you're trying to accomplish to get through, if you don't have that care, it's not going to really find itself in fruition as easily.
Wise words. So let's talk about then, where can we find you, Mason? Because I know you have these wonderful creations here. We've learned a little bit of what orgonite is, why the pyramid shape matters, why the pyramidian caps, why they're so important. So what is your social media?
I don't really. I mean, I have Merlin Enterprises. I think it's Merlin Enterprises 11. Hopefully you put this in the link. If not, it's her fault. Blame her. Just kidding. But I have merlinslab.myshopify.com. Right now there's no sale going on, but I will put a sale on in the future. But Merlin Enterprises 11 is basically where I post pictures of some of the work I do for clients and some of the pyramids I do for people, and that's pretty much where you can find me. But we have a phone call here. We're gonna try to do something different. We're gonna do some phone calls with our lives. This is something that we're doing that's new. So give us a second. But we're gonna call someone, and we're going to see basically how they liked our pyramid and what they can tell us about these pyramids. Hello, you are on 90 Degree Turns. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. So you've got one of these pyramids. I believe you have a generator, which looks like this. One second.
Yeah, I got the
bigger copper and has that bigger base at the bottom. So what do you kind of think about these pyramids?
I love them. I really love them. I have one that's got the large one that has the legs, and then we have another like medium sized one, and they're beautiful. They're really wonderful.
Do you feel a difference in the energy when you're in its presence or when you program them?
Oh, definitely. Well, so what we've noticed is I always have mine right at the front entry. Okay. So say like when my husband comes home from work, he's had a stressful day. It's like pretty much left at the door. Um, kids come home from school, same thing. That energy just kind of gets left at the door because it's not only does it protect you from the negative energy, but it keeps the room and everything, the flow, everything's just beautiful. The energy is beautiful in the house.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And so, have you ever tried meditating with one of them or putting them on your like body, certain places?
Yeah, I've done, I listen to a lot of meditation things. One that it activates the 33 chakras. And I had a migraine before, like was really super bad, and I put it on my chest. So that's your heart energy. So I put it on that, and you focus the energy to flow through that, and you can literally see it because you have this clear crystal quartz that you put in there, and then you have the copper that goes around it. And so when you focus that energy, because energy falls in tension, that you can literally see that come through that pyramid to the top, and it goes in a coil. It goes in a circle all the way up. You can almost see that energy flow out. And it took about, I'm going to say probably about 45 minutes listening to my meditation to using that pyramid and helping with a migraine that went away. But yes, I also like to use them for meditation. It's basically like an antenna. It really amplifies your everything that you're doing. So if you're grounding yourself, it's going to amplify you being able to ground yourself. If you're wanting to go into a meditation or do lucid dreaming or anything like that, it just is like an antenna and amplifies everything.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was wonderful. That is my mother, everybody. Please give her a warm welcome and thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
no
sharing
problem.
your experience.
All right.
Thank you.
Love you.
Bye, guys. Love you. Bye, guys.
Yeah, so that was very interesting. I remember we went to ESETI and we were trying to help her with a migraine. My mom has these migraines. And basically, sorry, I was trying to exit the call. But basically, she put these pyramids with intention. And with this intention, you're able to kind of unravel whatever's going on, and I really utilize these bottom pads here because I feel like we have some that don't have it and we have some that do, but I feel like this bottom pad here gives that ability to really conduct that energy from the body to this device. And it's not that we're trying to find something outside of ourselves because we're complete and whole. But it's a tool to help assist us. And it's a tool to help, clear the energy, really focus our intention. Because if you have something on your body, you have that easier ability to kind of move your attention to that object. And really put yourself out of your consciousness to really focus on that. And as soon as you focus on something that's touching you, something that's very precious to you, if you decide to do that, you have an easier time navigating what I call the unconscious realm.
So it essentially puts you out of your mind and into your body, which is where most of us don't spend a lot of time because we're doing a billion and one different things, right? So the importance of grounding yourself into your body is very, very important. And when you're able to then look at the different chakras and use these tools, right, they're energy tools, then it helps expand your own consciousness and your experience overall. So we're going to have another guest on. He is a viewer.
It's a good friend of ours.
Good friend of ours here. So let's pull him in.
Scott,
hello.
It's Mason. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. So we're just talking about our pyramids here on our channel. And I know I made a pyramid for you and your daughter. I just want to know what you think about that pyramid and how's it going for you?
Well, like you said, you made it last August, and I told you that my daughter had a lot of night terrors, and that's a story in itself. But I was looking for things to help her out, and I'll tell you, as soon as I got it, I could feel the energy coming off of it. It was a palpable feeling through my hands, and my daughter took immediate liking to it. And what's awesome was you also put a little nightlight in there for her. So she keeps it by her bed every night, and not only that, she always she does a little bit of meditating herself. She's about to turn 7 years old, and she always has it in her hand or nearby. And she, like I said, she has a attachment to it, and I can't thank you enough, because since then she hasn't had a night terror since. They weren't too regular, because we had done some work on them before and they had slowed down. But since I've gotten a pyramid from you, there hasn't been one episode. So that's wonderful and wonderful in
I
itself.
actually appreciate that. Thank you.
They're made with a lot of love, Scott.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's actually very,
Well,
very
I
powerful
feel the
to
love.
hear.
I feel the love, and you guys are pretty powerful people yourselves, both of you. And I feel the love. And not only that, they're aesthetically beautiful. You know, I mean, I've just gazed into them at times, and it's just wonderful craftsmanship. So you guys do a wonderful job, and it's just it's worth every penny. That's for sure. You know what I mean? You'll never remember the money, but you'll always have this beautiful pyramid.
Yeah.
You know.
And I appreciate that so much. I didn't pay him.
No, it's true. No, I speak the truth. So you can take it any way you want, but it's all true, you know. And I highly recommend. I don't know if you guys are going to the Journey of Truth conference coming up.
Oh, well, that is one that we haven't participated in. Yes,
we got invited, but unfortunately, circumstances won't allow us to do that right now.
Yeah.
No, I hear that. I hear that. Well, I was going to say, because that would be a perfect time for some people to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you guys, anybody is.
Oh, something sounds like it's going off on your speaker there.
I don't know if we lost you, Scott. Hello.
Hello. All right,
We
we'll
lost
get back
him.
to him. Looks like
Well, I mean, he did mention the Journey to Truth.
Yeah, so
we'll just add that in
we'll
there.
just pipe it in
Yeah,
there.
I believe it's coming up beginning of May,
yes.
so it's like in 3 weeks from now.
Oh.
Is Scott?
We have.
He's back.
There he is.
Hi, Scott.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got cut off. I don't know what that was.
No. It's all good. You were mentioning about the Journey to Truth conference, right? We are unable
Yes,
to make
yes.
it due to our schedules, but are you going to be there?
Yeah, I'm gonna be there, and I'm sure you guys will be at future conferences. And if anybody goes to a conference and that they're there with you, just bring a little bit of extra money, because I'm telling you, it's worth the investment, every penny. So
Thank you.
I highly recommend it. And like I said, and they also said themselves, it's made with a lot of love, you know, and a lot of positive intent, you know, and I felt that immediately, you know, and it was made for my daughter, and my daughter loves it. So
Yeah.
I can't thank you guys enough, and I appreciate it.
You're welcome. That's actually the first time I'm hearing that. So thank you, Scott. That's actually
No problem. No problem.
I'm so happy to hear
I
that your
appreciate
daughter
you
doesn't
guys.
have her night terrors anymore, and that
Yeah,
putting
yeah.
a good energy into the pyramid has really helped her, you know. And the nightlight
Oh,
feature,
yeah.
I think, is just so cute too.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's wonderful, you know.
Yeah, I actually
so,
came up with that idea because of her. So.
yeah, it's a fantastic idea. It's wonderful, you know, and it lights up the pyramid inside too, so the crystals take on a different effect when it's on, you know. Well, you know, different aesthetically at least, and it's beautiful. It's just a beautiful work of art, you know, and it's functional too. So it's functional and it's beautiful. You know, you can feel the energy coming off it. No joke.
Yeah.
So it's a real thing.
Well, thank you, Scott. We're very much happy to provide this pyramid for you, right, and to allow the work that we do to help impact like the younger children, the next generation to come. So thank you so much.
I thank you guys, and keep up doing what you guys are doing. You're doing awesome work. Trisha, you're doing awesome work. Mason, you keep up with these pyramids, man, both of you guys. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Keep up the
Much
good
love.
fight.
All right.
Much love to you guys.
Much love, Scott. Thank you so much.
No problem. See you later.
All right. Bye. I totally forgot. Yeah, because I made so basically what I do with the pyramids is if someone requests a nightlight inside that crystal, I do something special. But the only light that comes from the pyramid is the crystal. So
it's a glow.
the crystal is illuminating according to what you're looking at, and it's quite fascinating. And I completely forgot, his daughter did give me the inspiration to kind of make that pyramid. I remember I screwed around with it once, but I believe hers was labradorite and amethyst. And I put the lights in there, and the way I did it on that one, it was a little bit of a larger one. I made it so the amethyst glue, like the amethyst would light up, and then the crystal quartz lit up as well.
Yeah, I remember he sent us a video of it too, of her response, and she was like, "I love this whole thing,"
was really
and
cool.
she was so cute, and just looking at the pyramid. So, yeah, wow, that was awesome. Let's try to look at the chat here real quick, see what people have mentioned. We appreciate every one of you guys being here live with us today. If you could like it, if you could share it with the people you love, we would totally appreciate it. We do this because we are passionate about the channel and everything in our community. So we have here, I have one of those, where's the best place to put them? Well, you can put them anywhere.
So I usually put, depends, because wherever you're at, who said that?
T.
I have one of those. Okay. So basically, you want to put it where the most amount of electronic devices are, whether it's like your Wi-Fi, if you have a TV, anything that you have that's electronic, that's turned on, you kind of want to keep these by. So this one specifically, I use this one, I put it on my computer, because I'm on my computer quite often, because of course I work on the computer. This one's tourmaline. Tourmaline is a natural electromagnetic basically protectant anyway. The stone and the crystallization of the stone helps with protection of EMFs, and then the whole the pyramid and the design helps even more. So I call these the EMF destroyers, and I use this on my computer, and we have one I think on the Wi-Fi router. But if you want ones for, if you have night terrors, okay, so these aren't a cure-all. However, what they can do is if you have one of these and say it's like, I don't know, amethyst, and you do suffer from maybe restless sleep or not being able to sleep very well, your attention in the crystal already has its own properties, but your attention in the crystal will amplify whatever that you're experiencing. So as long as you develop a relationship with it, if you just have it, you have it there, I mean, that's kind of like the car that you appreciate, but you never really do anything with it. If you don't talk to your possessions, if you don't develop a relationship with it, you're not going to be able to...
Appreciation for its existence.
You're not going to, yeah.
I would just want to mention, even though like crystals, they look like they're just like very solid, right? Because they're very solid and dense. They have an energy. Their atoms are moving. They have a consciousness. It's just dense and a lot slower than what you and I are used to when we talk to other people, right? But you can feel with animals, different level of consciousness. You can still connect with flowers, plants. You can connect with everything that is alive. So
yeah,
it's
so
important to
they
know.
have a consciousness to them. So if you kind of really like, agree upon, or like once you'll develop a relationship. It's almost like a personality, and once you develop that personality with a pyramid or with just a stone in general, you have more of a kind of like a teammate, so to speak. So when you use these, you have more of an objective. You understand what it's able to do or able to assist with you, and you have a better, in my experience, a better journey with these devices.
So thank you, T. Let's see who else we got. Remzo, nice to see you. Can you go up for a second? Let's see. There's a buzz. Go up. I can't read the whole thing. Have you seen the Bosnian scientist? I have heard about that. It's been a long time since
15
I've
years old.
learned about. There's these pyramids, like the Bosnian pyramids.
Well, there's all sorts.
There's all sorts of
There's
pyramids
Russian
out there.
pyramids, there's
Yeah,
Bosnian
yeah.
pyramids,
There's all sorts, but let's see. I've got many Andaran monatomic crystals that you can feel the energies emanating from them. Yeah, maybe you can use them in your pyramids. If we find some Andaran monatomic crystals, that would be awesome.
Monatomic, from my understanding, like you have monatomic gold and you have monatomic silver. Those are just very, very tiny nanoparticulates that essentially, if you add a current to them, they can vibrate a little bit easier. Like monoatomic gold, that's a supplement that you can take in the body. Different than colloidal gold, but basically when you take monoatomic gold, it has that ability to be agitated through interaction through energy and stuff like that. So they have that mutability to them, and they're actually really good for the cells. That's all I know about monatomic bills.
So someone asks, what's a good program statement? So it really depends on what you are looking for. Like, for example, I'll give you two ones that I've used before, right? So let's say you have a hard time sleeping. I like to use like the affirmation that is, I sleep deeply and awaken refreshed, right? It's simple. And I like to, then if I'm having a hard time sleeping, I will repeat this statement while holding the pyramid, like my chest or whatever chakra you feel is appropriate, and repeat that, right? Or another example would be, let's say you've worked out and you're really, really sore. Okay, you don't want to stay sore very long. You want to continue going outside and enjoying the beautiful, soon-to-be spring weather. So something I like to say is the infinite intelligence of my cells heals and repairs my body now, right? So that'll then encode not only in my subconscious mind that I'm healing and I'm quickly going to be able to go do what I would like to do physically, but it programs it in your subconscious mind. You're repeating the statement. You have the pyramid to reinforce that, and it keeps on going. So know that with crystals, you can program them for as many sides as the crystal has. So when you have one like this, which is multiple crystals inside, you just imagine all the programs you have, right?
But I would start off with one program.
But start off with one. You don't need a billion to remember. Okay, start off with one, and then since we're on the topic of crystals real quick, you can charge crystals, right? And you can clear them. So majority of stones can be put in the sunlight. And I think majority of them can be put in like if it's raining, but you don't want selenite to go in the rain.
You can put those in water.
These are waterproof.
You can put them with water, salt water, anything like that. But when it comes to that program, so essentially all you're doing is heat is energy. So if we're adding our intention, like if I want this one to help me with grief, and a lot of times these emotions are kind of unconscious, so we just pick a theme like grief. Malachite is great for grief. We can hold it, and once we hold it and we warm it up, that warmth, that energy, that attention will actually bring out of us our subconscious injuries that have happened from our past. And like I said, it's all a tool. Your mind already does all this, but because we're focusing on something outside of ourselves, we're able to kind of put that energy into this device and go, this is what I'm looking for, but I didn't really realize it. And so that's the importance of any type of object. But if you have a pyramid that's built specifically with those crystals, it can amplify it as well.
So thank you for that question. We have another one here. Johnny, thanks for joining. Let's see. Thank you for mentioning about your DNA activation, activating through the chakras. That is also something where you can very much add to when you meditate, right? So you can take these pyramids, put them on your chest wherever you feel is right, and you can go through your different chakras. Someone you can check out if you want guided meditations. Geraldine Orozco has awesome meditations. She teaches you how to go up through them, through each one of them, and to clear it. So you can, these devices aren't like the magic behind clearing, right? It's you doing the clearing. All that they do is what Mason says, they amplify it. They can help you with it because the pyramid shape.
Because your awareness.
And
you're
your
putting
awareness.
your awareness on the object that is well known. You think about the sheer mass and majesty that is the Great Pyramid of Giza, and basically your mind is going to see this and go, oh my gosh, so my meditation is going to go through the Pyramid of Giza and just make this huge, whatever you're trying to do, it just amplifies it.
Yeah, so good things to look into. What else do we have? That's all we have, Mac? Okay, cool. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening. We really, really appreciate you coming on. Mason, thanks for joining us today. You guys got to meet the maker of Merlin's Lab. So let's tell them your website one more time.
It's Merlin's Lab at myshopify.com.
Okay, awesome. And your social media is Merlin's Enterprises 11.
Yeah.
Okay, and then everyone, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, follow us on, if you're here on YouTube, we do have a TikTok. Please follow us there. You can find it at 90 Degree Turns, or You Are a Creator. Yeah, so, and if you want to share this with all your friends on Spotify, feel free. But it's been wonderful to have you on for episode 42, Mason. Thanks, everyone, for joining us live, and thank you for all our guest call-in speakers. So, we'll see everybody on the next one next week. So